Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. I'm so excited to be with you today. Thank you for joining me. I have an idea that kind of popped into my brain yesterday morning. So I had to kind of hurry and get this ready for the video for today. And I can't wait to show it to you. It's using the Creative Memories Gingerbread Fun paper pack and collection that just came out. So here we go. Go over to the desktop. Okay, here is the page. And this isn't exactly what I had in mind, but what I really wanted to show you were these little stars. This is kind of an offshoot from my video that I used these particular triangles when the fall paper came out, the Grateful Harvest paper pack. And I wanted to make it into something different besides just a straight border. And this is the page using the paper. So this is the paper pack. It has so many fun papers that are just the shades of brown, reds, greens for the holiday season. And the pictures I used on here were still fall photos, but I think they came out just fine. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to make one of these stars. And you probably have seen this in the past, but it just kind of popped in my head and I wanted to recreate it. So the first thing you're going to need are strips of paper that have a lot of contrast to them. Um, there are some of these, I made these different. And I wasn't really sure that the brown on here was the right color because it didn't really make it pop. But that's when I put the blue sticker in the middle and that helped. The one I liked better was the one that I used with more variations of colors. So these are the colors that I'm going to do to show you today. The first strip is 1 inch. Okay, so we're going to cut 1 inch of this lighter colored paper. And this is the back. And you'll see that I used this on the strip for the top of the page. But what I did was I just fussy cut this. And then I had the top for the page. The top one looked just like this, but this was on the bottom. So then I was able to put this on the top of the page. But this side, we're only going to use this lighter color. And this is 1 inch. So for every color that we're doing, you're going to need 6 pieces of the same size square. So this is 1 inch. And so I'm going to need 1 inch squares. So I'm going to cut this. Doesn't have to be totally perfect because we're going to be cutting the triangles out of the squares. So I'm going to try to get them as straight as I can. And I would line them up against the top or the bottom. And I can go ahead and do that. It's just kind of hard to see in the video. But I'm just cutting these 1 inch squares. And I need 6. So you'll need 6 of each color. And 3 different colors or 4 or 5 different colors, depending on the different layers that you want with these. Okay, so there's that. So here's the 6 different colors of this one. Okay, the next one is 1.5 inches. So here's the different sizes. So you want 1 inch strip, 1.25 inch strip, and 1.5 inch strip for this particular size. Let me show you this now so I don't forget. Okay, this is the 1 inch size. Okay, the next layer is the 1.25 inch. The next layer is a 1.5 inch. Okay, the next layer is 1 3/4, and this one is 2 inches. So that's the biggest that I took it, but each different size, if I line these up on here, you'll see where the different size of the squares need to be to get these. So this was the smallest I went on the what I did for the page. Okay, so here's the various colors. So if you want, you can even go with the 5 different colors if you want that much on your page. I just chose to go with the 3, and you can choose whatever color variation you want, depending on what size you want and how many you want. Okay, so they start at 1 inch, and that one went up to 2 inches. This one is the 1 1/4 inch, and this one's already cut. So now I'm going to cut 6 1 1/4 inches. Hold on. Sorry about that. I didn't turn the volume off on this. So I probably should go ahead and try to do that. Hold on just a second here. Okay, the sound is off. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'm going to cut 6 1 3/4 inches. I hope this is long enough. Four, 5. Yes, this one is long enough. Yay! And 6. So there's 6 of the 1 1/4 inches. And the next one needs to be 1 1/2. So I'm going to use this red strip, and it's just a little too big. So I'm going to trim that off. Okay, and now I'm going to cut this at 1 1/2, and I need 6 that are 1 1/2 inches. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and there's the 6th one. So we have a little piece left over. Now, what you need to do is you can do these individually if you'd like. I like to do, oh goodness, hold on a second. Here we go. I like to do like 3 at a time because it just saves time. So I'm going to take this, and it doesn't matter, there's no pattern really to this. And I'm going to take it and I'm going to find the center, and I have 3 of them stacked. I'm going to find the center, mark the center, and then I'm going to cut this from the center down to the right-hand corner. Okay. And I'm going to take these little pieces that are hidden in the trimmer and make sure that I've got this over far enough so it'll cut exactly on this corner right here. Okay, so I've got these pieces that I just cut off. I'm not going to use them. And I cut it from the center mark right here down to the bottom right corner. Now I'm going to cut it from the center mark down to the left corner. This will give you the size of triangle that we need to create these stars. Okay. Okay, so there's those 3. I'm going to do the same thing with the rest of them. I'm going to line it up here, find the center, mark the center, cut from the center down to the bottom right corner. And then do the same thing from the center to the bottom left corner. And I'm going to do that with all 3 sizes. When it gets to be the 1.5 size, it's easier to cut it on the trimmer. But the smaller sizes, sometimes it's easier just to cut by hand because they get a little hard to maneuver on the trimmer. So this is the 1.25 size. Again, I'm going to find the center. This is a little hard because it's going to be where the center is on there. It's got like 1/8 of an inch or like 1/16 of an inch on each side. So just center it the best that you can so you can mark the middle. One, two. There we go. I need to move over just a little bit. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to try to cut it on the trimmer, but sometimes it's just easier to cut it by hand because it's hard to get all the papers. Oh, that worked okay. But sometimes it's hard to get all the papers lined up just right because there's so little. Okay, so I'm cutting from the center down to the lower left. And that's right where I want it. There's just a tiny piece to hold on to here on the end. Okay, and that worked. So I'll go ahead and do the same way. Oh, did I do 4 there? 1, 2, 3. I did do 4. Okay, so these last 2, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to find the center, mark it. And make sure they're straight. Now you can go ahead and you can do each one of these individually if you want. For the sake of time, I'm just doing them. I'm just stacking them and doing them together. Okay, it moved on me there. Okay, there's those. Now we just have the smallest pieces left. And I'm going to get brave. And I'm going to do all of these the same time. So I'm going to find the center. Make sure it's kind of straight here. I'm actually going to try to cut these by hand. Okay, so I've got this center right there. And I'm going to cut this from the right corner up to the center. Then from the center down to the left corner. And it's important to make sure you get it right on the edge. Okay, so all of those are now cut the right way. And make sure you put the longest tip on the top so you know where you're going. Okay, next, I'm going to cut out a little circle so I have a little base to put this on. Okay, so see, here's a little circle so I could adhere all of these together. Now on those, I did a circle on every single one of them because I wanted to be able to show you the different sizes put together. These, I'm going to go ahead and put them all in the same one. So I'm taking the smallest circle pattern of the custom cutting system, and I'm using the blue blade, which is going to make the smallest circle that we can get. Okay, so I'm going to put the knobs in the groove, and I'm going to go all the way around and get just a little circle. Now I used white. You could use beige. You could use a designer paper because it's not going to show when you're done. So it doesn't really matter what color you use. Okay. So now I'm going to put adhesive over all this whole circle. And I'm using the repositionable, so it'd be easier to reposition these as I'm going around. Now you can mark the center if you want, find the center. I'm just going to eyeball it. And I'm going to take the largest size. This is the 1.5 inch. And I'm going to just put this and put the tip in as close to the circle as I think I can get. Okay, now I'm going to take the next one. I'm going to put the tip in the center, and I'm going to pull this out about this far apart. Okay, so I have the tip in the center, and then I have this going out about this distance. And I'm going to have to probably go around once I've got them all on here and reposition some of them. So that's why I went ahead and used the repositionable adhesive. But I'm just putting the tip in the center and adhering these all the way around in the circle, or you can use a square. It doesn't really matter. But you do want it about the same distance apart of all of these little pieces. And if it's not, then you just go ahead and reposition it as to go around. So like this one's out a little far. I'm going to move that one over. And you can kind of push them. Sometimes you may need to take them off. And move that one over and move that one over. And they don't have to be perfect, just approximate. Okay, until you end up with all of them approximately the same distance apart. Okay, now I'm going to take the next size and I'm going to adhere it down directly on top of these. If you want a little bit of distance, feel free to use a foam square. The foam squares that I have are the thin foam squares that were available for a short time. But you can use whatever foam squares you want. But for this particular pinwheel, I guess is what it's called, I'm going to put the second layer right on top. So I'm going to put the adhesive on all of these. And then I'm going to take these. And when you put them on here, you're going to make sure that you've got the same size going right along the same edge. Okay, so it matches the size of the larger one, which is going to put the tip really close to the center, but they'll overlap just a little bit. But this way, you've got this going as close as you can, matching all the way up. Okay, and then just go all the way around. And put the next layer on. And it doesn't matter what it's gonna look like in the center because you're gonna cover it up again with another layer, okay? So these are overlapping some, which is fine. Okay. And the last one. There we go. Okay. So see how they're sort of overlapping in the middle? It's really kind of hard to see that, but it's not going to matter. But the lines match all the lines from the original one. Okay. Now I am going to put a foam square for the third layer. Just pop it up just a little bit. Okay. Let's see. Now this is the last layer of these triangles. And I'm going to try to do the same thing again on these, is line it up to where it matches the edges of the second and the third layer. See that? I'll pick this up in just a second. And you just kind of want to eyeball it because that foam square is going to be super sticky and you're not going to be able to move it once you get it on there. Okay, so see how I'm still lining up the edges? This one is out a little bit, but you're not going to really tell. Okay, do that again, all the way around. Okay, that needs to come out just a little bit. So I can tell that I didn't get the foam square centered, but it's all right. It's not going to matter. And just kind of adjust them as you go along. Okay, there you go. And there's the 3 different layers. Okay, now I'm going to do one more foam square. And I'm going to find a, a sticker or an embellishment that I just want to put on the top. Now, what I really would like is this embellishment is really cute because it's got the mom and the dad and the baby all together. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them apart and I'm going to put the baby in the middle of this. So I'm going to cut the baby out. So feel free, you guys can cut these apart if you want. You don't have to keep them together if they're not staying the same um, theme type that you want. Now I'm just going to fussy cut this a little bit, make the edges more round. Okay, and same with this one. Okay. So, and now I can use these on the rest of the page somewhere. But here's the baby. I guess it's a little more round. Okay, now I'm going to stick him right in the middle. Isn't that cute? And that's how you make these little star pinwheels. Okay, now let's put the page together. I'm going to take these off of here so they're not in the way. Okay, so you need for the page a sheet of paper that's approximately 10 by 12 inches. So you need it to go all the way across, but you don't need it to be super long. And then I'm going to use this base because this is a really easy border just to put down there at the bottom. But we don't need all of that paper. So I'm going to see about how much I want showing of the base. And probably about 3 inches is good. And then this could be the rest of it. Or I could go 3.5 inches, or I could go 4 inches. It's really up to you guys. It all depends on how much of that particular color you want to still show. So I think, and I'm going to cut this off. If I go about 4 inches, that would be good. It should give me enough, well, 4.5 inches. It should give me enough of an overlap, depending on, and I'll use this on something else, maybe another pinwheel. Okay, so it needs to give you enough of an overlap that you can put the other piece on top of it comfortably to hold them together. Now this one, where do I want this? So here we've got 3.5. What did I do on the other one? It was right about 3.5. Okay, so 3.5 for that. It gives me about 1/2 inch of overlap. Then this one's too long. This one needs to be about 4, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.5 inches. So I'm going to cut this down to 8.5 inches because I don't want it to go too long. 8.5. Okay, so I'm cutting about 1.25 inches off of that because I'd already used it for something else. Okay, so now I'm going to put adhesive on the top of this and on the bottom of this. So that way the overlap will stay together really well. Now I'm going to line this up with the bottom 12-inch line. And then I'm going to line this up with the top 12-inch line and along the edge right here. Okay, that should make it equal all the way across, which it does, which is nice. Then, like I showed you earlier, I took that one particular paper and I just fussy cut this. So it goes all the way across. and gives a nice little border right there on the top. Okay, I'll put this down. This is just a little over an inch wide. It's probably like an inch, not even quite an inch and a quarter. So anything that you might want to put there along the top will be fine. You can make it as wide or as small as you want. And then I have this to put in the top. I did make a second one that I will add probably about right here. And then you've got room for your photos. You've got room for lots of photos and a journaling box. So I think I had a 4x6 photo here. And I think I had something like a 4x4 here. Okay, which left some room here, and there'll probably be some overlap. You could do another 4x6. You can do the 3.5x5. Then you can add maybe a little bit of these gingerbread people right here to fill in that spot. And then a journaling box in the bottom. And here's my journaling box here, right there in the bottom. I didn't make another one of these, but that will go right here. All right. So here's that page. And here's the final version of that page. I didn't have anything in here because I pulled this down further. So you could do the same thing if you wanted. You could pull this down further and not have anything in there. Or you can add a few other embellishments that may be smaller. So it's up to you, however you want to do this page. And you can do it with any other collection. If you have a piece of paper that has something decorative along the bottom that you don't really care about using the whole sheet for, or you can use the full sheet. It's up to you guys. So here's the dimensions for this page again. You have a 1-inch strip approximately on the top. You have approximately 9.5 or a 10-inch piece, and then a 3 to 4 piece on the bottom. The pinwheel or the star is 1 inch, 1.25 inch, and 1.5 inch. Okay. Now I did want to show you a border. I did make a border out of it, just so I had another option, maybe for the double page spread, so that I made this border. Now this border, the pinwheel, is a 3/4, so it's smaller, and it was like a little bit difficult. I had to cut it by hand. So it's a 3/4 by 1 inch by 1.25 inch. And then these strips, I have about an inch, a little more than an inch here in the middle, 1.75 inch, and then 2 inch to fill it out and make it the actual border. Okay. So what do you think? Would you actually like to see it on a page? Because I think I did that. I think I went ahead and made the page. So here's the border on the bottom. And then these strips are about 3/4 inch along the top and the sides. And then the smaller pinwheel. So this again is 3/4 inch, 1 inch, and 1.25 inch with this cute little gingerbread guy. And then the other gingerbread sticker. Now these were stickers, and this one's on the border. So you can do it any way you want. Okay. So let me know what you think. I really had fun making these for you guys. And thanks for joining me. Thanks for tuning in, and have a blessed week. And I will see you again next week. Thank you. We'll see you later. Okay, bye.